So, welcome back to the Black Feather and Ospreys Rugby Fancast. Evening, chaps. How are you?
Oh, good.
Hiya.
Thank you. We keep on
Yeah,
winning.
I know, I know. I'm
That
feeling
bounce is good.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling a bit ill, and I think it's from sitting out in that pouring rain whilst watching us give Benetton a bit of a spanking on Friday. So I'm feeling a bit rough, but smug and content as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I sit opposite you, and as it started coming down, so I saw all the people in the rows in front of you just getting up and moving, and you and your old man were just sat there and they went, "Oh, it must be bad. Rod's putting his yellow coat on."
Yeah, but we refused to move. Honestly, as everybody walked up the aisle to go and find shelter, I was genuinely shouting at them. Well, not shouting, jeering at them, going, you're soft, all of
Don't
you,
you
you're soft."
think?
And there was a big group wearing the Lacha RFC badge. So calling them out, Lacha, you're soft.
But are they ill today,
Oh,
Rod, is the question.
That's the question.
but now you're bad. Now you're poorly bad.
On my tea, so.
I'm in the tier above you. Um, and I'm on the posh side, so I didn't have to move. But I was wrapped up quite nice, and it was cold, nice and warm. But worth going out for, wasn't it?
100%. 100%. Whoever dragged themselves to see that game on that blustery cold night, they had yeah, top class entertainment, didn't
They
they?
saw some lovely rugby, did they
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, last week we were saying about how good the performance against Poe was, and we've just taken it a notch up again, haven't we? We just seem to be getting better and better. The more they get used to Mark Jones's philosophy, the better we're getting.
Yeah.
It's starting to click as well, isn't it? I
It
think
is.
seeing the attacking style of play
Yeah.
is coming quite naturally to some of the players,
Yeah.
which is lovely,
Yeah. Well,
nice
defense as
to
well,
see.
the defense is looking
Still solid.
cohesive as well.
Mm.
They look as if they're really, blitzing and we've got an aggressive defense going as well now. And
Yeah,
it's interesting, Alex Cuthbert talking on the Scrum 5 podcast saying he's spoken to some of the Ospreys lads who are really happy and positive with the new style of play and that it's given them chance to express themselves more. So that's what we need, a nice happy squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, did try and get some music going, Rod. I don't know whether you heard us, five of us, singing Carl on Lan over my side. The four old fellas who sit just in front of me and me. I got to give it to them. They started singing. I joined in. They just went, and I was like, I'm with you, lads. I'm with you, lads. What else can we get going?
Yeah.
Um, but it was, you
No, I
know,
tried, but it was hard, especially when everybody in
you
our
were the
block.
only person in the
Yeah.
stand.
Everyone left. So it was just me and my old man, at which point, we just resorted to screaming our heads off. Um, But as we got to the latter stages of the game, it was just fun, wasn't it? It was just entertaining
Yeah,
at that point. That it didn't feel the need to like try and generate that atmosphere for the boys.
they fair play to Benetton. They kept like pushing and pushing and pushing for that score, and they kept being pushed pushed back. So as much as we were strong in attack, so we did not let them in to
Oh,
score
not at all.
a try. Um,
Until the
and it
last 20 minutes, and it looked like their heads just dropped at that point, and they
Did, yeah.
well, they
didn't know what
started
to do
getting
there.
feisty then, didn't they? And started like some fisticuffy handbaggy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started to get a little bit aggy, didn't they? Um, but fair play to them. That wasn't weather for them, was it? It didn't do them any favours at all. Um,
But I think second half, if that monsoon hadn't come, I think we had a few more tries in us as well. It was obviously
yeah,
difficult conditions for both teams, but the type of play, the style of play that we were trying to achieve that we could do in the first half when it was a little bit drier. Second half, the offloading became harder. So I think there were a few tries left out there potentially as well. So it could have been an even bigger win.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it seems as though under Mark Jones we're playing a far more expansive game than we have before, and we're creating those opportunities, and we're bringing those those backs in, and the style of play at the minute. I know without sounding like the other pod who worship King Tupperek. I love him, but I'm not at the worshipping stage yet. It seems to suit him down to the ground at the minute because I don't know about you guys, but watching him play over the last couple of games, he's just been phenomenal.
Mm.
Like, I think we can all agree he's only just retiring. Like, he's 35. He's still got, can we get one more year? I don't think we can. I think he thinks that is his time is done. But he's looking classy, like
Yeah.
really, really looking classy. And this seems to suit him and some of the other players down to the ground.
I think we got the two best sevens in Wales. Tipper is only for me behind Jack Morgan still in sevens. He could do a job Friday night for Wales quite easily.
Yeah, could walk in.
Oh,
Yeah, the way
100%.
he's playing
He'd be
currently.
in Lions contention, honestly, wouldn't he? I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah.
he was outstanding Friday. I mean, obviously, he sort of stands out because of the cap and everything else. So you can always see where he is and what he's doing. But just his play around the field, his link up play, organisation defensively, he was just everywhere. It felt like there was more than one Tipuric on the pitch at some
Just
point.
didn't know where he was going to pop up
No,
next. He was just in the forefront of everything. And I read a fact over the weekend which surprised me, which is that that was the first time in 4 years that we've nilled a team.
Yeah.
yeah,
A
Like,
best win in 7 years and first time we nilled someone in 4 years. And I
yeah,
think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time it was Benetton as well.
yeah. Our last
yeah,
biggest win was against Benetton
Yeah.
7 years ago, and Tipuric played in that game as well.
yeah.
Oh, wow. But yeah, it,
It,
it goes back to this Warren Gatland phrase, isn't it, of both sides of the ball. And I think we've always had the one side, the defensive side, but we're starting to get some more parity in that attacking side of the game. And it's a pleasure to watch, isn't it? Because I think we as fans can always appreciate those gritty wins that are pushed through by the big boys up front. But from, neutrals from the outside looking in, it hasn't been exciting or attractive rugby.
No.
no,
Now I think is we're playing a style that can bring in new fans, can excite people, and make them want to turn up at games.
and
Yeah.
that's what one of the things that Mark Jones said in his post-match interview is that he's encouraging. I think he used the word brave. He wants the players to be brave with the ball. He wants them to feel that they can make those passes, that they can do that. And I think the thing that he said is, yes, he wants to win, but he also wants to entertain the crowd while he's doing it. And I know that we've said before, doesn't matter how we win as long as we win. But if you've got an entertaining game and you're
Yeah.
winning, it's obvious that these players now are feeling empowered that they can just shove that ball around and throw it around. And it's starting to, like when they first started that style of play against Cardiff, wasn't it? It was a bit like, really? Now it's coming off
Mm.
8 times out of 10, 9 times out of
Yeah.
10, and
Yeah.
it's creating those points.
And it's
And
that
we're on
trickle
16
effect.
tries in the last three matches, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
massive.
Yeah,
I can't
I know,
remember what it was.
100 odd points, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's that trickle effect then, isn't it? Because, over the past few days I've been seeing URC and other social media accounts that aren't affiliated with the league, independent stuff, doing their uh, try of the round, doing all these like
yeah.
voting stuff, and we're getting featured in it. And
Mm.
I even saw somebody, a Glasgow fan, commenting on Twitter saying, "I've got a new Welsh team," which
Rough.
was amazing to see.
But that's what you want.
Yeah, yeah, it's about the brand, isn't it? About putting ourselves out there and
Yeah.
making ourselves look sexy, essentially.
Yeah. And, another cracking game from, Jack Walsh needs an honourable mention because, again, another cracking game from for him. Um, I think he helped control the game really, really well. Um, I'm going to sound like the lads know a Tipperek, but God, I love Cassende. I really like it, his style of play. Again, all over it. Um, just you could highlight every man from 1 to 15 and the replacements that came on.
Yeah.
Each of them shoved their hand up to say, we're playing this and we're playing it really, really, really well.
Yeah. Even
Um,
someone like Boshoff, who's not an attacking centre, is a real attacking weapon
he
for
was
us suddenly.
great. Yeah,
It's obviously he's fantastic defensively as well, but he's looking
he was
dangerous
carrying really
in an
well.
attacking sense as well, which is fantastic. Rod, I know you like his stats. One that I picked out in terms of the tactical play on Friday is
Hmm.
that we retained possession from 12 kicks
Mm.
Friday night. So, tactically, the kicking they were doing from half back, we're able
Yeah.
to compete to get the ball back from as well, which I think is important in terms of territory as
And I
well.
must admit that this whole like jumping and trying to flick the ball back does irritate me sometimes. I just want
Yeah,
our wingers, other wingers. It's not just us. It's across the game, isn't it, at the
Yeah,
moment? But I just want players to commit more and go for the catch. But
yeah,
it came off a load of times for us against Benetton on the
yeah,
weekend, didn't it? I think Cassende flicked a few back that were caught. Keelan Giles did a few as well.
mm,
I think Tipperick might have even been on the end of a couple.
a fair
Um,
few.
yeah, yeah. So it came off, so I got no complaints there.
But again, Morgan Morse came on, scored
Mm.
that try in the 76th minute. God,
I'd
he's a
say
player,
that
isn't he?
try. The videos you see online where you've got the big kid and all the other kids move out the way because they're afraid to tackle
He
him.
was just like,
That's what the Benetton back row looked like when they were trying to stop him going over him, and there was no way they were going to
yeah,
stop him from 5 meters out. But they
he,
No.
just
he was
basically
gone when he was
they just
stone.
made a path for him to go. So they thought, stuff it, we're not going to stop him.
Yeah,
But it's his speed off the base as well. It's
Mm,
not just the power that he comes with, it's the speed. That by the
yeah,
time he's, in their face, they have no time to react or to read what he's trying to do. So,
he's not a
um,
slowpoke by any means, is he? Do you know what
no.
I mean?
no, no,
How
no.
tall is he?
Um,
Because he could probably put more bulk on. He's only young and he probably
Yeah,
will over the coming years. But he doesn't strike me as being that tall. But I might be wrong.
1.86.
Hmm?
He's 1.86
I
six
don't
foot.
know. I work in feet. I don't know what that is.
Oh, he's only
Just
5'11".
Oh, is
is it?
he?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got a lot of raw power for what would be considered quite a small number eight, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
But he came on at six, didn't he? Or seven.
yeah, quite
Eh,
possibly.
Well, he came on at the same time as Morris, but then Morris went off and then he slotted into
Yeah,
eight.
That's it.
Uh,
Yeah.
so for a period, he was hunkering down at on the flank. But yeah, it's incredible the impact that he had for being on the pitch such a short time. He came on with 20 minutes to go, but in
yeah.
that time had 5 carries for 26 meters and beat four defenders.
Yeah,
I think he was top for defenders beaten in the final quarter of the game.
brilliant.
Talk about having an impact. Amazing.
And he's
Talking about
20.
Yeah. Talking about pace as well, one of the moments of the game for me was that last play of the first half when Lewis Lloyd caught their winger who looked for all the world as if he was
He
away
was gone, yeah.
completely, and how on earth he caught him. Gareth Rhys-Owen was saying on the scrum five he had a contact who told him before the game, if this lad gets the ball and he's in clear air, he's gone. Forget
Mm.
it. So in so
Yeah.
in so in commentary, he actually said, and he's gone. There's no catching him. The next thing,
And Lewis
the
Lloyd was
keeper's
like,
behind him, grabs him
Yeah.
from behind. I think he injured himself, didn't he? He didn't come back on then.
I got to be
Yeah,
honest, that
but
was a proper round the legs,
it
like
was superb
grab the
tackle,
shirt,
textbook, wasn't it?
I'm gonna get
Yeah.
you down. He just flung himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Um,
the
But
commitment.
didn't go too early. That's the thing, isn't it? He
Yeah,
pursued and he pursued and he pursued until he knew that he would make
he
that
knew he
tackle.
could get it. Yeah,
Snagged him on the back of the shorts, slid down around the legs, but then the work of the rest of the team as well to then turn up all
get
over.
round.
There
Yeah.
was 3 or 4 players running in support, and I don't know who made the turnover itself and got their hands on the ball, but Lewis Lloyd should deserves the plaudits for that one. But it was a team effort to then turn that around, because Alessandro Isako is world class. He'd get into most URC teams, probably starting, because on his days he's hot.
Mm.
And that's what you get when you have a converted back row hooker. You
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
bit more
yeah,
pace, don't you? Isn't it? And he
yeah.
certainly showed that.
And I think, we finished this block on a strong point, which can only build the confidence.
Hmm.
Next up we've got Leinster on Valentine's Day, 14th of Feb. Um,
and then
let's
Glasgow
face
after
it,
that.
Leinster are whilst they are providing the backbone of the Irish team, then the players that they are leaving behind, they're no small fry either, really, are they? And I know that you posted out, um, the poster today that Ospreys have released with a picture of Geordie Barrett on, but they've got some class left behind.
Yeah.
Now, do we think we've got the winning bounce to be competitive with Leinster on the 14th, or do we think that we should be grateful for whatever we get from that?
Let's not
Because of
set our expectations too high because they haven't lost a game all season. Certainly not in the URC. Did they lose a game in the Champions Cup?
Don't think
No,
so.
so they
don't
haven't
think
lost a
so.
game all season. So we're
Yeah.
unlikely to be the ones to deal that blow, but we can certainly expect to claim something out of that game, even if it is 1 or 2 bonus points.
Let's face it, they're one and we were 11, so
Yeah.
We're going to have to be brave, aren't we? We're going to have to play the Marc Jones style times 10 and take chances in order to win that game. Just playing
purpose.
just playing 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 is not going to win that game. We're going to have to be 10 out of 10. Everything's going to have to come off for us. And then hope the Leinster are slightly below par as well, I think.
What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Unlike previous years where we might have scraped a couple of tries from a rolling maul against a team like that and been relatively happy with it. I think we can go out and genuinely pursue 4 tries this time. I think that is entirely possible
Give it a
if we
whirl.
play like we did against Benetton, because yes, Benetton had an off day if you want to call it that. But we went out and we made some of those tries through good attacking play and expansive stuff and just like a bit of guile, a bit of bravery. So there's no reason why we can't do that
We
against
were there
Leinster.
to play. We were there to play.
Yeah.
Any other honourable mentions before we move on to Marc's URC roundup?
Yeah, I mean, Boshoff was great. I thought Ethan Lewis off the bench again
Yes.
was great I'll say it again, for a fourth choice hooker, particularly in defence. His line speed was incredible. It just kept striking me when he came on. He was constantly up there making those first hits whenever Benetton were trying to get any go forward. He looked great.
The front five generally, Benetton had a big old pack
Scrum was good.
with some very, very experienced players in there as well. And, the scrum went really, really well. So I think, kudos to the front five there.
Yeah. Owen Williams as well. I think it was
Yeah.
probably his best performance of the last couple of seasons, certainly that I've watched, and I've missed many games. He
said
controlled the
that,
game well,
didn't he?
and he was accurate off the tee, which can't always be said. But he was consistent, and he looked like he found a bit of his mojo, and was happy to be there and enjoying himself, which was
And to be fair to him, he's been quite magnanimous, I suppose, in what he has said about the fact that he is second choice there at the moment because of the way that Dan Edwards is performing. So for me, it's that shows the class of a player, really, and the humility that they've got to say, yeah, okay, I know I'm number 2. Oh, fighting talk with Marc.
I say just before I start the URC podcast, we can't let the Ospreys chat go quite yet, I don't think. There is the elephant in the room from last week with our mate Sam, we can say definitely. Rod, not
Loves
so
Matt.
much. We're not sure on
waiting in my
Listen.
booth.
And not being funny, right? If anybody was to put money on which 3 of us would get into a podcast beef first, it would not have been Rod. Wise money would have been on me.
And for
However,
those who are listening and not watching, an ominous background has just appeared behind Marc,
There it is.
and that is Ozzy the Osprey.
so in case you missed it last week, during our chant segment, we were talking about chants, we were talking about brass bands. Rod said that he didn't like Ozzy and his drum.
I didn't say that.
It's better than Ozzy and his drum.
I just said Aussie and his bloody drum.
Right. But
I
still,
don't,
you slagged the drum,
with no
Which
right?
is technically
connotation
worse,
either way.
probably, but
Slagged the drum. I met Ozzy. I've met Ozzy several times, but I met Ozzy on Friday evening. Ozzy loves the pod, Rod. That rhymed, didn't it? Pod Rod. Loves what we do, loves us, you know. However, he did say to me, "You're dead to him." Ozzy then came to look for me. We then tried FaceTiming you because he wanted to FaceTime you. Couldn't get through to you, so we recorded a video which we put up on our socials. Rod, you've got beef with Ozzy.
Yeah, yeah. So from my perspective, this all started adding up after the game because I looked at my phone. Obviously didn't look at it during the game. Looked at my phone, so 2 missed calls from you, and then I saw a video which we posted to socials and people have probably seen of Sam calling me out on Ozzy's behalf because, as we all know, he is mute.
He's
But
not moved.
he
He
was
just
stu-
didn't want to speak to you.
but he was stood there pointed at me and he looked quite
And he was looking
threatened.
like you.
But then it all made sense because halfway through the game, I was
Told
sat
him where
in
you
my
said.
seat and I was having a chat with some bloke who sits next to me, and Ozzy's head pops around the corner of the barrier, and he's just sort of looking at me and holding his gaze, holding my gaze, and I sort of it interrupted the conversation, and I sort of paused for a couple of seconds, and then regathered myself and continued the conversation, and then turned to my dad a couple of minutes later and said, "Something really weird just happened. I think I just got sort of threatened by our mascot." And then, forgot about it. Then saw those messages, and then it all
Did
made
you
sense. That was him.
drumming in front of you quite a lot?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I told him where you sat. It's like Rod is roughly in this position. John nudged me and he went, Ozzy's in front of Rod, banging his drum really loud. And I was just, I was weak and I was crying.
That's
And of course,
fantastic.
by this point, Marc's seen the video. I've also done a voice note for Marc, and me and Marc are just crying. But
It's fantastic.
um,
But I think it's time to make up, Rod. I think, you need to apologize publicly now to Ozzy for the comments that were made last week. They don't reflect the thoughts of the pod at all. I am going to leave him there with his eyes staring at you for the rest of the pod as well, just in case you feel like disparaging him again
Rod's views are
at
Rod's
any
own
point.
views, Oz.
I will.
Um,
I will issue a full public apology here now. Ozzy, I am sorry. And I also noticed in the game that you came up with a new drum chant, if that's what you call it. He started a new one that I haven't heard before, which was just bang, 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 Ospreys, bang, 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 Ospreys. And it took people a few minutes to catch on to it on our side, but he got them going.
You sure it wasn't "We all hate Rodri"? We all hate.
we all hate Rodri.
So no, I
For me,
appreciate everything you do, Ozzy, for trying to generate some atmosphere, because God, we need it.
Oz, love you, babe. I'm just smoothing the waters over John. I'm not cheating, promise. But I think this could be a bit of fun in the future. We'll get you against Ozzy doing something.
Wrestling, jelly wrestling in a kid's pool on the halfway line at half time.
Absolutely not, because he'll get in his fur.
Is this some sort of fever dream you've had, Rod, as well, about you and Ozzy?
This is taking
That's been the recurring nightmare that I've been having since Ozzy
since
popped
I
his head
sent you
around
the
corner
video.
and
Yeah. So, off the bucket list, we've got a Twitter, like we've got a pod beef. It's not me. Yeah, you go me. But then we move on to Marc's URC roundup. Now, I only dipped in and out of stuff on the weekend. I know you were watching, Rod. We were hoping that Deborah would do us a bit of a favour, which didn't kind of happen. But Mark, run us through your URC roundup. It's been a while.
It has, yeah. It was nice to have a full set of URC games back. I've missed trying to cram 8 games into a long weekend. So have to admit I did watch one on fast forward about an hour before the pod tonight. So I won't say which one it is, but I'll see if you can guess. So Lions Bulls on Saturday. Tight game going into the last quarter. 1 point in it. Typically South African bruising encounter. But the Bulls pulled away with 2 late tries for a bonus point win. That keeps them firmly in contention for the playoffs. They're the best of the rest at the moment. Leinster and Glasgow pulling away at the top, and the Bulls leading that group behind. So they're still clinging on to the potential of top two, but they're going to need some slips from Glasgow and Leinster to do so. Scarlets Edinburgh, Saturday afternoon. Really good game. Really enjoyed this one. Scarlets controlled the game for long periods, but as the Scarlets tend to do, they wanted to make things a little bit nervy for themselves and let Edinburgh back into the game. I know you sort of messaged going into the last 10, Rod, that you thought Edinburgh were going to do it, and they very, very nearly did. But the Scarlets got a late penalty just to sort of cling on. I mean, Scarlets are playing well, to be fair. Their defence was well organised until that last 10. And I suppose the difference now to the start of the season is they're winning those tight games that they were losing earlier on in the season as well.
Mm.
Edinburgh would be pleased to get out of that with 2 bonus points as well, a losing bonus point and a 4-try bonus point. The Scarlets would be disappointed not to get the try bonus out
Yeah.
of that as well.
And what I will say is that they had the opportunity to get it. And I think a bit
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
poor decision making or just a simple lack of confidence or conviction at the end meant that they went for the pen instead of the corner. And Edinburgh actually outscored them in terms of tries.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably not the decision I would have made. I thought
No.
they'd be bolder than that.
I suppose they were panicking a bit that they weren't going to win the
They were.
game at that point, so they had to just make sure they won it, I suppose, and claim
Yeah,
the important 4 points rather than be brave and go for the 5.
yeah.
Right, Leinster Stormers, Leinster's 36, Stormers 12, blah, 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 blah. Leinster 5 tries in
Leinster,
control,
Leinster.
48 points out of 50 this season so far, another bonus point win. It must be boring being a Leinster fan.
Yeah.
They just win every week, don't they? You know, it can't be much fun. There's no jeopardy being a Leinster fan, is there?
That
At all.
that is a genuine point that I haven't even really considered before. Is it just boring? That's you're so right. There's no jeopardy. There's no risk. There's very rarely a very close game that comes down to the wire.
No, we
Um,
wouldn't be complaining if it was us at the end of the day, but
Yeah, I don't think I would mourn.
no.
And you've got the likes of, I'm going to say it again, Georgie Barrett paying for him. Imagine watching that week in, week out.
Yeah.
Like I know we've got some class with Tipperick and Jack Morgan, and there's a whole raft that I could play. But Georgie Barrett, man, do you know what I
hmm.
mean? You're watching that week in, week out. You're watching that level of class.
It's
But
more like a
then
performance. It's like going to see a show rather than to see a
Yeah.
competitive game, isn't
Yeah.
it?
what?
Yeah.
Jazz hands. Um, but then I suppose, like anything in life, they're at the top at the moment. They may not, well, I can't see the IRFU ever changing the status quo, but there is going to be a time where they
Maybe we'll live to see it.
maybe,
Yeah.
possibly. But
They're streaking away at the top. They're 11 points clear of Glasgow in second. I say 48 points out of a possible 50 this season so far. It's just a ridiculous record, and they are the class of the field. And it'll be the only way they're going to not win the title is if somebody on a one-off game,
something freakish
Leinster
happens.
either in a semi or in a final, where Leinster have a bad day, and whoever they're playing against has an absolute worldie.
Yeah,
Uh, anyway,
could
moving on.
happen. Moving on.
Cardiff against the Sharks. It was back to flaky Cardiff a little bit on Saturday night. Poor defensively, no pack to speak of really at all. No sort of platform scrum wise. The Sharks were physical and powerful. And a 42-22 win for the Sharks. It didn't help that whenever Cardiff got back into the game, Sheedy would miss a kick or miss a conversion. So they almost have to score an extra try to make up for Sheedy's
to
missed
do
kicks
that.
as well, which sort of doesn't help. Um, One positive for Cardiff was the performance of Tom Bowen on the wing.
Mm.
Looked really exciting.
Where's he come
Nice
from?
try.
Yeah, just come up straight from the Cardiff club,
Academy.
from Cardiff RFC, I think. And I've heard some comment today that he played exactly as he does in the lower level of the game Saturday night. He just came in and looked as if he belonged from the get go, really.
Was
And
a nice try.
yeah,
Good
it
choice.
was just an
Very
exciting.
nice try.
Every time he had the ball, he could feel that buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
again,
I
another
mean,
youngster.
he was breathtaking, wasn't he? He was sort of edge of your seat kind of player. But I have heard one other person say, "Can he pass though?" Because he did just sort of in a Johan Lloyd style, sort of get the ball and just run in whatever direction, and
Yeah.
he tended to find a gap. But
And if
I
he can
wonder
run
what
like
type of
that, then he probably
skills.
doesn't need to pass us if he can run like that.
The
So
No,
thing is, though, it is the step up again, isn't it? That we talk about time and time again, is
yeah,
learning that step up. Because when you're a player like that and you're playing in a lower league, you're probably head and shoulders above,
Hmm.
some of your opposition. You probably don't need to pass, like you said.
yeah.
Um, but obviously, other news coming out of Cardiff is them signing Tane Basham off Dragons. God
Big
bless them on the weekend.
but they don't need at all, do they, really? They've got an array of back row players already. They
They
don't
don't
Yeah,
need
need,
them.
but maybe that suggests that what's his name is leaving,
something's
um, and that may not be renewing his contract. What's his name?
Thomas Young. Thomas
Thomas
Young?
Young. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And that's what I'm hearing Cardiff fans saying. But it feels like a bit of a watershed moment, really, for the Dragons. I wouldn't be surprised if Wayno goes at the end of his contract and some of their other big players, Dyer maybe. I don't know when Dyer's contract runs out. I think
Uh,
it's maybe the season after Wayno. But yeah, it feels like the floodgates opening kind of
uh,
signing, kind of loss.
we'll move on to the Dragons in a second, but just a couple more things on that Cardiff Sharks game. Cardiff
go
did
for
get
it.
a try bonus point from it. The worrying thing for Cardiff now, they've only got 2 home games left between now and the end of the season.
Yeah,
So, they're sitting pretty at the moment, but they've got a lot of tough matches to come. They've almost got the opposite of what we've had, where we had a really tough run in the first block. They've got their tough run coming up between now and the end of the season. A lot of those games away from Cardiff as well. So
yeah,
we're going to see whether they start sliding down the table as the season goes on, or whether they can hold on
Yeah,
to those playoff spots.
yeah. And one final point as well from me. Sheedy and his kick in.
I know.
It's 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 unacceptable. I think he got 1 from 5.
Yeah,
So many points missed out there. At one point, if he had made 3 of his conversions, they would have been uh, equal with the Sharks at one point in the game. They would have been
yeah,
even on the scoreboard.
they would. Yeah.
But he's just awful
but
off
what
the tee.
what I'm not getting is who's working with him behind the scenes
Yeah.
Mm.
to coach that, to make
Yeah.
that better, because
It's not improving week on week at
it's
all.
not. And you know the likes of Lee Halfpenny, Bigger,
Mm.
when they are literally out there. God, I think I watched a documentary about Johnny Wilkinson, that he will go out there for two, or at his prime, he was out there for 2 or 3 hours at a time,
Mm.
just consistently drilling at various points
Yeah.
on the field. You know,
And
surely
he's
someone's
he must be doing that, you know. He's a professional kicker. He must be
Yeah.
doing that, but it's clearly not his skill set, or
something's not happening.
his head's not in the right place. But tell you what, if I was a Card fan, I'd be fuming because there's so many points gone missing
Yeah.
this season now, and
Absolutely.
potentially game-changing points. Anyway,
Only one other incident of note from that game was the incident with Mapimpi. Um, First of all, Sam, how much did you enjoy your shirt coming off? He
zero
was,
percent body fat.
he was absolutely ripped, isn't he?
But
Unbelievable.
yeah, but can I interject? As a woman, right? That's really pretty to look at. It is, without a doubt, it's pretty to look at. That's not nice to hug. It's just it's just solid.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Not cuddly. No.
no, it's not like that's not, I'm gonna curl up in bed and I'm gonna rest my head on you, comfy.
No.
Yeah.
It's just not like I'm not that.
I have the same problem, Sam.
For me, it's not like, and I like when I speak to my friends and stuff, like Magic Mike and whatever passed me by. So whilst it's really nice to look at, it's not kind of the thing that you want to snuggle with and get warm with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't see him being willing to sit down with me and do a Harry Potter marathon and drink full fat Coke and eat loads of sweets and then have a like little snuggie under the blankie.
No.
It's
It's a
not for me.
lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So yeah,
yeah,
while everybody was admiring his abs, his hands were doing some nasty things to the Cardiff player at the same time. He was going to get him pretty close to his eyes.
yeah. I'm
Whether it was
not
going to
vouching
be
fan.
citing there potentially. Apparently, it's down to Cardiff if they report the incident as to whether anything further is done. Apparently, you'd think that they would because it didn't look pleasant at all. Really, he was
No,
certainly
no.
getting that direction with his thumbs, with the eyes and stuff.
Yeah, not good.
Don't want to
Not
see that
good.
at all. Moving on to the Dragons. The poor Dragons, 19 to 38 at home against Munster. I mean, first of all, I know we gave a shout out to the Dragons fans last week, but to nearly sell out that game with the season that they've had is quite something in itself. Shows the loyalty of those fans.
Don't give
And
up, guys.
yeah, and then to see the product that they delivered on the field in that first half, especially, was really quite shocking. It felt like a new low, really, for the Dragons.
Oh, I just
There was a period of about 15, 20 minutes where Munster could just have their way with them. They basically were catching the ball from kickoffs and just running in the ball from wherever they wanted.
Yeah.
It was
And I mean,
yeah,
amongst that, with 3 tries in 4 minutes.
yeah,
Bearing in mind, one of those was a penalty try, but a try at 16 minutes, penalty try at 19 minutes, and then another try at 18 minutes. So,
yeah.
just like
And the
that.
I
Dragons just look demoralised and as
their
if they
heads
don't know
drop.
what they're trying to do at the moment. They don't seem to have any kind of direction. I don't know what the leadership is like off the field, but since sort of Flanagan's gone, they don't seem to have. And to be fair to
Tia.
Tia, that wasn't the job that he was brought in to do. He's been thrust into that position as head coach. Maybe he's out of his depth. Maybe he's not quite ready for that yet. But I don't know what's going to change. I mean, this season they're adrift, aren't they? Now I think I can't see
Yeah,
them matching Zebra.
yeah,
Especially with that zebra win. I know we'll get
Yeah,
on to it, but that's
exactly.
just sent Dragons even more adrift.
Yeah,
They've got no chance of claiming that back now.
no. But it's a
no,
very
it's
worrying
just
time for the Dragons, and they are looking really poor. Probably the
they
poorest we've seen
they've
on
got
the.
a players meeting. They've got a fans meeting coming up, haven't they? I would love
Yeah,
to be on a fly on the wall for that
yeah,
because, like, obviously, being a fan when things are not going right is really, really hard. So fair, as you say, fair play to them for continuing to have that level of support and that level of, you know, people prepared to put their money, like their hand in their pocket and pay money and go and watch when perhaps it's not going to be, the most classy performance ever.
mm,
So, I should imagine that the players want to give those fans an entertaining, winning game of rugby. Um, and
I
I
mean, if
think
their fans want to watch some good rugby, come over to our side. We need the numbers.
we welcome you with
yeah,
open arms.
We'll do
Like,
a recruitment drive.
yeah.
yeah,
And
like we
that's the
will.
absolutely ridiculous thing is that there were 2,500 at the
They're really well
Rock on
supported.
Friday and 10,000 at Rodney Parade on Saturday to watch the Dragons
Yeah.
play like that.
Do you know what I mean?
We're
And
only
like, don't go to Cardiff, they're the pretty boys. Don't go down west, you won't understand them and they don't know what electric is. Come to us, we're friendly.
It's only a 40, 50-minute drive away. Yeah. Come on, we'll have you.
And they're still officially the second Welsh team of the Black Feather Pod, aren't they?
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely. Ain't absolutely no way am I entertaining Scarlets or Blues. No.
No,
But
we
they
love the
showed something
Dragons.
in the second half.
They did.
Yeah,
They were
they had
They
still
did.
leading
19.
by then, and that's the story of the Dragons, isn't
Just
it?
keep on keeping on, like, and as you say, it can't be easy for our friends at the the Dragons Lair doing what they're doing week in, week out. But, fair play to you, lads. You are, it's a great podcast. I know we tweet them to say that we listen.
Yeah.
Very insightful. Just keep the faith, lads. Keep the faith, as George Michael would say. Um, and have we got one more game to round up
We've
or
got two
no?
more games to go still, would you believe?
Oh,
Glasgow
was
Connacht. So
that Rod?
Glasgow 22, Connacht 19. You're sick of me now, Rod. You're giving me signals to get off. Yeah, a strange game this one, the Glasgow Connacht game. Connacht had an awful lot of ball, awful lot of possession and territory. But they huffed and puffed. They couldn't capitalize on that possession that they had. They looked short of ideas. Whereas Glasgow didn't play particularly well, but capitalised on the chances that they did have. Glasgow's team obviously was very much shorn of international players. So an awful lot of changes in that Glasgow team. So I think they'd be quite relieved to get to get the win. Connacht had their chances to win it. Certainly scored a lovely try start the second half. Um, Connacht a bit like us, really. They've got to take advantage of this international period. While other teams are short of internationals, they haven't got many internationals themselves, so their squad is pretty strong still. They're in an awful run of form at the moment. I think they've lost 6 or 7 on the bounce, I think, and
Yeah.
plummeted down the table after
Third
after a
from the
promising
bottom now.
start.
Do you know what the kiss of death is for that, though? You declaring them as your second team, Mark,
I
as your
think that's
Irish
what it
team.
is. Yeah, I
That's
think
what's
that's what it is.
happened.
So apologies, Connacht.
It's all Mark's fault.
It's me. It's me. The positive for them, they've got 2 home games now during the international window before they play us. So they've got Cardiff and Benetton at home, which are 2 massive games for them now, you would say. And then they come to us then just at the end of the international window as well. So they've got to make hay with those 2 home matches and try and pull themselves up the table from there a little bit. And then the weekend was bookended by Ulster 14, Zebra 15 at a very strange 5:30 Sunday afternoon kickoff time.
Strange.
Um, yeah, I don't think anybody would have predicted this one. And Zebra had to really dig in. Dig in. They didn't have an awful lot of ball, but their defense was superb. They frustrated Ulster throughout the game. As Rod said after the game on Twitter on Saturday, the only shame was that they couldn't hold out Ulster from getting that losing bonus point at the end. But you could see what it meant to the Zebra players at the end. They're uncertain about their future and whether their club will even exist next season.
Yeah.
And it meant an awful lot to them. And Ulster just looked shell-shocked. I don't think anybody expected that one at all. But really well-deserved win for Zebra, and they ground it out.
I wonder if they'll sack their coach again.
Ulster,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, they could have a football chant. You're getting sacked in the morning. Sacked in the morning. Right, but anyway,
yeah.
we move on.
The USA
Um,
table's looking really interesting just to sort of finish off with the
yeah,
weekend. So we've just a few examples. We've got 3 points separating the Bulls in third and the Scarlets in sixth. We're only now 2 points off eighth. So Edinburgh is currently sitting eighth on 24 points. We're sitting 11th on 22 points, and only 9 points separating third to 12th in the table. So
it's
it's really
mad, isn't it? How
really
quickly it can
bunching up.
change.
Yeah,
Because we've obviously shot up from 14 to 11 in the space of one game. So it just goes to show really that every result, every try does matter. It,
Yeah.
it, it can really boost that table. So it will be interesting to see how the next games, not only for the Ospreys, but for everyone,
Yeah.
how they play out and how they affect the table.
yeah,
Because you're right, some people with a tougher block like Cardiff could find themselves dropping like a stone.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I'll be
you know,
interested in that next block of games as well. And that on that first Saturday, so there's 2 weeks, isn't it? This weekend, there's Bulls and Sharks, which is third against fourth, so they're going to be taking points off each other. Munster
Ooh.
Scarlet, sixth against seventh, taking points off each other. So that's going to tighten things up again, especially if we can get a win or something from that Leinster game.
Yeah.
Then we're just tightening that back up again. And
Yeah. And it is worth stating that from position 7 to 16, we are the only team with a positive points difference.
mm,
Everybody else is on minuses. We're on, albeit +2, but it is a positive, and it might come down to points difference at the end of the season. So Yeah,
Keep on
yeah.
scoring those tries,
Giving
lads.
ourselves, something there.
Yeah, yeah. So our minds turn to the Six Nations. First game this Friday. Wales and France kick everything off at 8:15 on Friday evening. And I'm doing something that I don't normally do. I'm going out to watch it. But I say out. I am going out, but I'm not out. To quote Mickey Flanagan, I'm going to the Albert Hall in Swansea because they've got some really nice food in there, a rather large screen, and you can book a table for 6+, which for me is marvellous because it means I'm guaranteed a table. I'll get nice food, and you can order drinks to your table as well. So I'm not going to be like, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah, I'm going out to watch it. Yeah, I think it's one of those where I'm probably going to watch it through that.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't really want to be in public. I want to be at home where if it goes absolutely disastrously, I can nurse myself to sleep with a strong glass of something.
You know what? The closer we're getting to the game, the more optimistic I'm getting, and that's probably just blind, whatever you call it, optimism.
It's the
Depends
Um,
Adam
which France
Jones
team turn
effect.
up.
The Adam Jones effect.
yeah,
I
maybe
love
that's what
him.
it is. Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
know. The closer the game's getting, I'm thinking, well, I can't be that bad. And France aren't going to be completely on it because it's the first game of the tournament, so they're going to be, gelling as well. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I guess we can hope that teams are going to underestimate us, particularly a team like France. Maybe they're not as rigorous in their prep and in their analysis of our players and what they can do. Um, I guess that's a hope in the back of my mind. But I'm probably backing France to win the thing.
yeah, I think so.
So it
And I
could
think
be
before
brutal.
before a ball's
Can I
kicked,
say something
to be
really
positive.
controversial? I think England are going to win it.
Really.
And it pains me to say that, but then
I don't think
I
they got the defense for it.
oh, those I nearly swore those buggers always come good. Um, I have to be honest. I Mark, you've watched France play as long as I have, and this is no disrespect to you, Rod, or your age, but France is still one of those. It does depend on who turns up on the day. They vary
Absolutely.
comme ci comme ça, and they,
Yeah. If you think against Italy last year, they drew at home to Italy, didn't they, last season?
yeah,
Which is a very typically French thing to do.
yeah,
And then the following weekend they'll go back to somebody.
and absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it does entirely depend on who turns up, but it is the opener. It is Friday night. It is Paris.
Hmm.
And it's hard to see how they wouldn't. Obviously, Pinot is being ruled out now, which is great for us after his performance last, Damien Six Strikes Pinot
Yeah.
last weekend. But then we've got Dupont now. I love Dupont. I think he is a fantastic player, but he's not the Messiah. He's just a naughty boy. Do you know what I mean? Mark will care that. Um,
He is a joy to
Yeah,
watch, though,
that
isn't he,
too.
to be
Thank
fair?
you very much.
The
I
thing
went
with
to
him
see
is you never know what
Spamalot
he's going to do, do
recently.
you?
Anyway,
um,
back to rugby.
Yeah. You never know what he's going to do you, DuPont? I think that's the joy of watching him is that it's that uncertainty
the
of not knowing.
unpredictability
Yeah.
of him. We'll see how we fare. Um, and it is. I just want us to do ourselves proud. I
Mhm.
don't want us to go out and be absolutely shamed and embarrassed and mortified that we haven't done the best that we can do. Um, we've obviously all loved the Adam Jones interview that he did about coming back to the squad. And I think he's going to be a bit of a tonic coming in, and he's going to be able to bridge that gap. Like he said, he wants to bridge the gap between the youngsters and the older players in the squad and the coaching team. And I think with his kind of, I'm going to put a French phrase in, with his bonhomie, I think he's got that there with him. I can't, in all good faith, say that we're going to win, but if we can do ourselves proud, get some tries, not be completely overwhelmed by it, then I will take that as a Welsh rugby fan, and march quite happily forward into Italy. Have you thought about your starting lineups, chaps? I know you have, Mark.
Yeah.
Rod?
And that it goes without saying, dictate how the game goes. But
Yeah,
depending on who he picks, it could be severely, drastically different outcomes and drastically different sort of styles of play
yeah.
that we go at that French team with.
Mm.
But yeah, the team for the most part picks itself, doesn't it? I think we'll probably be in
I think
agreement
so.
on a lot of it.
I think there may be. It'd be interesting to see who you think. I think there may be one surprise selection for me. Somebody that Gatland has bigged up a few times over the years that I think he might start.
Mm.
Go for it.
We'll see as we go through. So I'm guessing we've all got Liam Williams at 15
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Josh Adams at 14,
yeah.
with Tom Rogers probably in the other wing.
Yeah, I've got Tom Rogers / Josh Hathaway, but
I've got Tom Rogers.
I
yeah,
think
I
Rogers did enough in
probably
the
favour
autumn, didn't he?
Rogers. He's
Yeah,
been there, done that.
he did.
Yeah.
Then the centres are interesting. See, I think he's going to play Watkin with Joe Roberts outside him.
I've
I've
gone
gone
for
for.
Watkins Tompkins.
Oh, we've all gone for different. I've gone Watkin outside Eddie James.
See, I would love to see Eddie James play. He would be my choice to play with Watkin
Yeah.
outside him.
Yeah.
But I've got to. Roberts is the one that Gatland keeps on talking about how pleased he was with him coming back into the
Yeah,
squad. He likes that
Yeah.
left-footed option
It's
as well.
just France have had a couple of injuries in the centre. They're missing Dante and Fiku, which means they're probably going to be playing Mofana and whoever else plays centre for France. I don't know, but Mofana and somebody else, which might be an opportunity to exploit in the centre field with somebody big like Eddie James, with a bit of experience outside him.
Yeah,
Was my thinking.
yeah. I would love to see Eddie James play. That'd be my choice certainly, but Gatland will do what Gatland wants to do at the end of the day, and I wouldn't be surprised, Sam, if he goes experienced, like he said, with bringing Tompkins back as well.
Oh, we just
yeah.
didn't see him at all last autumn.
No,
I think it would be, well, I mean, we know we can do a decent job, but I just don't expect him to be thrust back in now after he's
I
excluded.
just went from an experience point of view for
Mm.
steady hands against France on the opener. I could very well be wrong. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be mad if I was wrong. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But that's kind of where my line of thinking
I've
went
never
then.
really thought that highly of Nick Tompkins. I can understand his the pros for him, but he's just an agent of chaos, and I don't like that in the 12 shirt. I want a little bit more, not predictability, because that has its own negatives, but a bit more
I'm all for the chaos, baby.
reliability, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got to put my glasses on because I can't read without them. Um,
We've
I
probably
think
all gone for
I think he's going to
Thomas
go
at
Ben
10.
Thomas at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
Thomas.
especially I think especially because Thomas played 10 in the last game for Cardiff, didn't he? And I think that was a sign
Yeah.
Wales are going to want him at 10, I think.
I
And
did
because
have Thomas.
Gatland's backed himself into a corner here by only picking two fly offs, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
not going to start Dan Edwards unless he's at a moment of real madness. But so yeah, we can expect to see Thomas there, can't we, Ben Thomas?
But Dan Edwards will get his cap
He'll
off the
come
bench,
on.
which should be
yeah,
fantastic
you
on
come
I
on.
don't
Friday.
expect him to start though.
But I think going forward, if it is a complete disaster, then we could see him
We'll
against
switch
Italy.
out.
Yes.
We'll see how well he controls the game. I'd say that those first sort of 20 minutes are going to be crucial as
Yeah.
to how he controls it, as to how quickly he gets yanked off and Dan gets put on. Um, I think it is going to be how the game is going and how he's controlling it. And I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a quick decision. and easy to see how well that's going within sort of the first 15, 20.
Yeah. Tom
Forwards then?
Williams obviously at 9, and then
Yeah.
props. I think he'll go Gareth Thomas and Azarati.
Yeah, that's what I got.
No,
Who have you got, Sam?
I did go for Azarati, but I went for Nicky Smith.
I thought you might.
Yeah. I'd like to see Henry Thomas playing above Azarati. I think he's a better scrummager than Azarati, potentially, and that scrum's going to be important on Friday night. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Congratulations to Ben Warren as well, obviously coming into the squad this week. He's
Yeah,
going to be in this, he isn't going to be part of the 23 on Friday, but great experience for him to be part of that
Yeah.
setup.
Even just to be in the camp with the bomb himself,
Yeah.
it'll benefit him hugely. Yeah, well done, boy.
Rowlands and Jenkins second row.
Yeah.
I think Rowlands is on a short leash. He didn't cover himself in glory in the autumn, and he's got people like Freddie Thomas and the Cardiff lad.
Um, Teddy Williams.
Teddy Williams
that's the one.
chomping at the bit there. So I
Hmm.
think he's on a short leash. I think Rowlands,
Yeah.
but
I wonder
I
if
think he'll
that
be
is
in.
he's
his
back.
the pro de deux. Obviously it's a tough old league, um, and it's brutal out there. But I wonder whether he just lost some of that, the fitness, the conditioning
Mm,
last time round. So maybe we can see him back to his what we know he can do because he is a
Can do,
class
yeah.
act when,
yeah.
when he's on his game. We skipped Hooker, Mark.
Oh,
I
we did,
presume
yes.
everybody's got Elliot D.
Elliot D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Elliot D.
But
I
Sam
think
Parry's
it's
going to
good.
get a hell of an impact off the bench.
Yeah,
He is an impact player, isn't he?
yeah,
Interesting to see Jenkins come back because obviously he was captain previously before he
Yeah,
was injured. And it's
yeah.
how he comes back and how he fits in with the dynamic of that team
Mm.
now. Um, if I was him, I don't think I'd feel butthurt about the fact that I wasn't coming back as captain
Oh God, no,
because he
no.
had such a short stint. So I just
Yeah,
think just get on the field, do your job,
yeah,
and crack on. But it'll still be an interesting watch.
Yeah.
I love the psychologies of these things, so for
Mm.
me that will be an interesting watch.
Yeah.
And then who have we got at? We know what we've got at 7. Let's all just put it out there now. Jack Morgan.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
who have we got at 6 and 8?
I
I
got
think this is,
Wayno at
yeah,
6
I
and
think it's
Fowler
harsh on
College.
both of them because both of them was one of the best players the last couple of games in the autumn, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think he's going to go Wainwright and then Faletau's experience at 8, even though he's not 100%.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
And
think
then I'd have both of them on the bench because
absolutely.
Gatland does like him. We know that.
And he's a
yeah,
great player, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. Very skillful. Yeah, no.
yeah.
He is unlucky to be just exist
It's
in
the
a
time,
landscape
isn't
where we've
it?
just got such quality back rowers, isn't it? Uh, Particularly when we're going to shift somebody who plays typically at 8 in Wayno into what is Jim Botham's preferred position.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it is a bit of a sucker punch, but no, he'll do a job off the bench.
So Gatlin will either do what everybody expects him to do, or he'll go
complete
completely left
opposite.
field and do something completely off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But can we go through the bench as well? Because that's where it gets interesting, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Is so I think we're all in agreement that we'd have Sam Parry in the 16 shirt, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Over Evan Lloyd. I
Yeah.
think his darts are just a lot more consistent and, his scrummaging ability as well. You went for Nicky Smith starting, Sam, but I've got him on the bench. And then Henry
yeah.
Thomas as well. They can
Yeah.
both
So
come on and just like do a job in the scrums when people start to get tired.
definitely, yeah.
What about second row then? Because I have got Freddie Thomas
So have
slash
I.
Teddy Williams.
I've got Freddie
I
Thomas.
Freddie Thomas for me.
I like Freddie Thomas, and it's harsh on Teddy Williams because his stats this year are incredible. He's got some of the best like line out stats as well as a few other metrics as well in the URC at the moment. I can't think what they are off the top of my head, but he's up there in terms of his performances. So I wouldn't be put out if they went for either of them. And then,
No.
as we said, James Botham,
Yeah.
21 Ellis Bevan,
Yeah.
probably in agreement there. I'd
Well,
favour him
Ruben.
over Rodri Williams.
Ruben it should be, but there we go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I picked.
And then Dan Edwards in the 22
Dan
shirt,
Edwards, yeah.
Yeah.
obviously, no other options. And then the 23 shirt. we went Tom Rogers on the wing. So does that leave Josh Hathaway in the 23 shirt, or do we go for somebody?
I've got Blair Murray in terms
Yeah.
of he can play a lot of different positions. He could come
He's a
on
utility
back if
back.
needs be. I think he's got more. He can back up a few more players, I think, than Hathaway. I think Hathaway for the future is definitely going to be there or thereabouts. But I think for this game, Murray just covers those extra positions.
Yeah. And he's a Kiwi, which Gatland always likes, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to go for score predictions because I don't want to depress myself.
Plus, we got it well wrong last week with Benetton. We all said like 5 to 9 points that we were going to win by.
Mate, I scanned the match day program and I said that it was going to be 28-25. How wrong was I? So we won't do score predictions, but obviously when we check in next week, then for me it will be Italy Eve. And we'll have something, good to look at. But Friday we'll either be, singing
Yeah.
or we'll be crying. Either one, really, innit?
Instead of a score prediction, should we just make a other random prediction? I'll kick things off and
Go
I'll
on
say
then.
Sam Parry, rolling maul try off the bench, off the back of a line out.
Okay.
Dan Edwards drop goal.
Oh, so I was going to go for as well.
I like that one.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Sorry, Mark.
I'm going to go for a. Oh, blimey. I don't know what to go for now.
Well, for the same as me.
I'll go for a Liam Williams scores a try from a cross kick.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We have to remember
Pin
this.
that on. But so carrying on now, it's third week in a row that we're going to discuss this because it really seems to have captured the imagination of our viewers stroke listeners, and that is chants. Now, we've had a number sent in to us. Can I just say, I know what the Max Verstappen, I don't watch Formula One, whatever his name is, thing is now. So it's do, 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 do. Oh, we're walking, do, 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 do. So I know what that is now. But we've had some others sent in to us. And from Jack Roberts, Rod said, I'll pass it on to Sam, but she's got far more rhythm than me. Um, so we've got, oh, Harry Deves is magic. He wears the yellow hat, and when we play on grass, he says, I fancy that. He'll hit you to the ground, he'll steal the ball all night, and when we win the Challenge Cup, we'll sing this song all night. I'm good with that. That's very good. Well done, Jack.
Yeah.
Star, 10 out of 10. Sam likes, Sam approves. And then we've also got some more from Martin Lewis, which I thought is really funny because I sent something similar to you guys via voice note, which was, when your back hits the ground and you look at the sky, that's Jack Morgan.
That's good.
The other thing, and I'm really sorry to the Dragons there, guys, was if we are beating a team chant, are you the Dragons in disguise? I'm really sorry to the Dragons there, but that did make us chuckle. We also had the We Will Rock You, but instead we sing we are Ospreys. And as Martin points out, it could be a peace offering to Ozzy as he could play the drum.
That's a good idea. Yeah. We like that.
Or then we had another one for That's Amore. When you're driv 10 yards back with your head up your ass, that's a forwards. So yeah, so happy days. That's some good chants that we've had. What else did we have? I'm just scrolling.
Whilst you're scrolling, I haven't shared this with you guys yet. I forgot to
Oh God.
be told. It's not a chant. I've been chatting with Nick Williams from the Pod Cymru and new presenter on the Ospreys, Erie, as he likes to call it. I'll be calling it the Erie now. As well. I think that is the correct pronunciation, isn't it? Not
Which is Irie or Erie?
Erie. I think it's Erie.
Oh, it's Erie.
Anyway, that's how Nick pronounces it. So for the sake
We'll
of
go
this,
with Evie.
I'll go with Erie. Um, we've been chatting about bands, particularly brass bands, like we have in previous weeks, and he said that he knows somebody who used to play in an Ospreys band that did used to attend games, and that he was going to try and reach out to him again.
Yes, boys.
Since got back to me saying that he's making process getting the band back together for the Scarlets game.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
then followed up by asking me, can I play the cornet? To which I responded, I highly doubt it. Um,
Sonia from EastEnders.
so we could be potentially
Having a band.
banned for the Scarlets game, which could be quite cool, but getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there. But just letting you know that that's trundling on, which could be fun.
Brilliant.
I'm just thinking of the Blues Brothers now when they say we've got the band back together. Um, it just tickles me. We're putting the band back together. We're on a mission from God. Um,
Can I admit I've been really, really sad this week. These chants have been dominating my life this week to the point where I've got very, very little else done.
that's cool.
I've been recording them in the car, driving on the way home in the car, just recording some things as they come into my head. It's really,
Do
really
it. Come on, Mark.
what I've
Let the
come to the
world shine.
conclusion of from watching football and stuff over the years as well, standing on the North Bank and the Vetch, you need stuff with hardly any words in
Yeah.
that people
Yeah,
can just repeat over and over and over and over
yeah,
and over, and that Ozzy can play his drum to as well.
That's where I
So,
yeah.
went wrong last week. So show me how it's done, Mark.
so I've got some really simple ones. So we've got Ruben Morgan
Morgan
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yes,
and he can repeat that over and over and over and over.
I'm in.
Then we've got Dare We Like
Do, do, do,
Dare
do,
We
dare
Like
we like do, 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 dare
Or
we like.
there's a second version of that which is slightly more complex, which is Dare We Like Wales is number two, Dare We Like Wales is number two. So slightly more words to that when you can't really fit it in. So
It's like Jamie Tart from
yeah, exactly. All these are
um
traditional football chants,
Ted
really.
Lasso.
Number three is you can't even call it a song. It's literally just Keith from Neath, Keith from
Keith
Neath.
from New.
Just
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
And Ozzy's drum will go perfectly with that one. You can just bang away to that one constantly. I've got for Gareth Thomas, Wales is number one. Wales is number one. For Gareth
yeah.
Thomas. These are really, really simple ones, like I said. Justin Tipperick, na 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 na
Na
na
na
na
na na
na.
na.
Justin
Justin
Tipperick,
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 Justin
Justin
Tipperick.
Tipperick.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's those. So loads of players are covered there with those, and they're nice and easy to learn. People hear them once, and they can just join in straight away.
Yeah.
I then did do a couple more complicated ones as well, so I'll share these with you as well. Um, he used to be a Scarlet, but now he's a Jack. His name is Ryan Combier, and he's never going back.
I like that as well.
So there's that one. I told you I've been going for gold on these this week.
Excited by this.
What else have I got? Keelan Giles, Keelan Giles. Up the wing he flies, scoring tries. Keelan
Dylan
Giles.
Giles. Yeah.
So there's that one.
Yeah.
And then a complete steal from all sort of football clubs. Mark Jones, Ospreys Army, and then that one.
Yeah.
And then one for our friends up the road. They're shit, they're red, their stadium is a shed. Scarlet.
Scarlett. Yeah.
And that's my 9 chants that I've come up with since last week's pod.
And the thing is,
That's really
if you,
good.
I love them, and if they're having a fight, you can be chanting, "You're going home in the back of an ambulance."
Yeah,
I love
there's
that
all
one from
sorts.
football.
Yeah, there's all
I think
sorts
that's
of
my
reasons like
problem.
that.
I've spent too much time listening to Max Boyce and not football chants, so I made mine a bit too verbose last week.
The simpler the better. If you think you've probably
Yeah.
got a load of fans who've been drinking before the game who are
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
remember a load of words. You just
Loads
need
of words.
repetitive and just go with it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, I like those early ones that you did, the ones that were just simple. Because it was daunting trying to get them started last week when you know that you've got like 5 or 6 lines that you're gonna try and need to get people to join in on. It's just never gonna work, is it?
yeah, you
Two
sort of don't have
lines
to have the
max.
song words in front of you to sing it to you, really. You just want to
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
chords.
Yeah. So there we are. So that's my proposal for a
I
future chance that we can get
love
some.
it.
Write them all down, Mark. Send me a
I'll send
screenshot
them to
and
you. We'll get
We
them
get
posted.
them all on social media, and we'll
Yeah,
do
all right.
an Ospreys. We'll do a Black Feather songbook.
Yeah.
Well, chant book,
Yeah.
and we'll get it sorted. But guys, please keep sending us your chants. You literally can see how excited I am by this because I'm like a kid. I'm like a 5-year-old. I'm genuinely loving the chants. So please keep sending them into us. Now it's the time of the week where I'll give you a choice. I can either ask you a random question or I can do a quick fire round, and either or. What would you prefer?
The power of choice.
The quicker the quick fire round sounds scarier than the random question, to be fair.
Whatever you want to do.
You
What would
throw
the
it
quick
at us,
fire
Sam.
round be about, Sam?
What?
What would the quick fire round be about?
An either or. Tea or coffee?
Okay.
Give us the either
Okay,
or.
yeah, we could do that.
The either or. Right.
Yeah, go on.
First one, tea or coffee?
Tea.
Tea.
All day, every day.
Coffee. For me, Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Coke.
Neither. Pepsi if I have to choose. But neither. Honestly, neither. I hate that choice.
What, you're drinking poor people Coke? How dare you?
No,
I'd
my
rather
pimpy
drink
lifestyle here.
I like my tea.
My pimpy body lifestyle, Rod, isn't it? Yeah.
It's yeah, you're no fun. Um, summer or winter?
Winter.
Winter.
Winter for me as well. Sea or mountains?
Mountains.
See.
Sea. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Dogs.
Dogs. Cats. They're these that work. They'd be our overlords. I'm only having a cat if I can have a naked cat. Walkers or Smith's crisps?
I've got to say, Smith's, because I used to work at the Smith's factory in
Never down in
when I was
really.
in Forest Fach, I used to work there. I worked nights there while I was in uni for 3 summers.
That's amazing. Did you get to have free crisps?
Always, if they were miscoded or anything else, they were throwing away the boxes.
Mark's just like this. He's taking them straight off the production line.
Oh yeah, you can do that as well. Yeah, you can do that as well. As long as
any defective crisps. Ooh,
Health
that's a
and
bad
safety
one.
rules are probably far more stringent now than they were then. But I remember coming home one night with a whole box of Flaming Hot Monster Munch, like 48 packs or whatever it was, because they were miscoded. So
I'm just seeing you at the end of the conveyor belt with your mouth open, like
yeah,
just letting them fall in.
Homer Simpson, innit?
yeah.
Do you know
So
what
I
I mean?
have to say Smith's just out of loyalty.
I'll go Walkers because if I go for a meal deal, it's always prawn
I
cocktail.
love Walkers. Yeah, Walkers for me. Um, Nike or Adidas?
Like
Nike.
Adidas for me.
Not that
Although
ass.
Rishi,
I'm not a brand junkie, really.
I
Macron.
am when it comes to trainers.
Yeah, Macron.
Macron instead.
Yeah.
Crocs,
As you can
yes or
see
no?
from my hoodie, it is like complete. It's just a plain hoodie, completely unmarked. I'm like the Steve Jobs or the Mark Zuckerberg of Ospreys rugby. No brands.
Yeah.
No brands. No brands. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Android.
Android for me. Box or film?
Box.
Books.
Books for me as well. Fiction or biography?
Fiction.
Biography.
Fiction for me as well. Star Wars original trilogy from the 70s or later trilogy?
Don't even need to answer that question, Sam. You know.
Yeah, I know. It's original.
Original.
Apart from Natalie Portman as Princess Leia was my first love. Princess
Amidala.
was my first crush,
Queen
and
Amidala.
will always hold a special place in my heart.
Okay, I'm happy for you. Star
Well,
Wars
she
or
acts
Star
like a
Trek?
cardboard box is the problem, but
Yeah, but she was pretty, Mark. So
she was. She was.
Yeah, what else?
that
What else?
scene on the lake house is etched in my memory from childhood.
Okay, I don't
I
need to know
wanted
any
to be
more about you when
Anakin
you
in that
stop.
scene.
Leave me alone.
Uh,
Kindle or real book?
real book.
Real. Yeah.
Kindle, you can carry more. You get more books around with you.
That's not the same. Kindle doesn't smell nice. Love the smell of an old book.
I know, but the way I read books, a Kindle saves me time. However, if I love a book, then I will usually have it on hard copy Kindle and audiobook. I'll have it in all three
What I will say,
versions.
a book can't run out of battery.
Kindles are pretty good, you know,
I know they do last a long time, but
like
you get caught
ages,
out. You get caught out.
ages. Cadbury's or Galaxy?
Cadbury's.
Cadbury's.
Galaxy. Cream egg or mini egg?
Mini egg. Hate a cream egg.
Cream egg.
Mini egg. Is a Jaffa cake a biscuit or a cake?
Cake.
Biscuit.
I think it's legally a cake now as well,
Like
isn't it?
Legally it's a cake, but it's a biscuit.
The thing is,
Feels
if
like a biscuit,
when
doesn't
it
it?
goes off, it goes hard, it's a cake. If when it goes off, it goes soft, it's a biscuit.
Okay,
And
nice.
they go hard, don't they? Yeah.
I've been treating
Happy
it as a
days.
biscuit for the last 50 years, so it's too late for me to change now.
I'm not
Okay, yeah,
convinced you.
whatever. And that is as random as it's going to get this evening, guys.
We
That
like
was
that.
fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Was that good?
Yeah, that was real fun.
Should we do more of those?
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that some of your choices were dubious, lads, you know.
Hey, we don't judge.
Well, we do, but we
Standards.
love to judge. I'm judging McJudge son over here. But in other news, The Apprentice is back this week. Love The Apprentice.
No time for it. No time for it. I can't
No.
stand the bulldog with the waggy finger either. He's just like the most obnoxious bloke in the world.
What?
Alan Sugar.
Sugar.
Lord
Yeah.
or Alan Sugar?
Lord Alan Sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Oh no, God. Please don't say that. I'll think less of you.
Is that possible?
Honestly, he's so full of himself. He's so full of himself.
I can't believe you went for cats over dogs.
I
Like I can, because I know you've got cats, but I can proper see you with dogs wandering around behind
like
you.
all animals. I love dogs as well, but you know, I've got a cat right now and no dogs, so I had to say cats.
I'd be lost without my little fluffy puppy. Even if she does me in every morning, 'cause she's got to like say good morning to the postman. Like I'm not even lying. She barks because she can hear the postman, and I got to go down so they can say hello to each other. So she's got to go out and every morning there's hello Lottie. Lottie has a bark. He gives her a bit of a clap and a thing, and off he goes.
Yeah.
Like every day. Like what's the deal?
Well,
So,
the
you
cat's
know,
not meowing at the postman, I can guarantee you that. And I
are they
also
loving or are they like vicious? Because my friend had a Siamese, most evil thing, and I love all animals. We know that if I went to a zoo, I'd try and steal shit. This cat was vicious. I can't even say anything other than it was vicious. My friend Ian has still got the scars because he was doing the dishes one day in his dressing gown when we were all students and living together, and the cat hated him and it launched at him, put his claws in his bum and just clawed all the way down. I've never seen claw marks like it in my life. And it's the only animal, and please don't report me to RSPCA, used to love stalking you and pouncing, and it would pounce on you and proper like claws and hissing. And I hit it with a pillow because it was coming towards me and it went to pounce, and I just went like that with a pillow. I was like a ninja. So cats are not for me. Like,
people always raise this about cats and say they're evil, say they're vicious, but as if dogs haven't literally killed people. Like a dog will do far more damage if it wants to than a cat.
It's got
no,
the
but at
time
least the dog looks happy to see you. Like a cat's
before
like, oh, you're back.
before he kills you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, well, that's been us for another week.
Mm.
Rod will get it all up on socials. He'll get the chants up. as always, guys, any chants you want to send us or any questions, thoughts, send it in. We've had some lovely feedback from people this week. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, a couple of people came up to me at the game last week, and like, I'm probably the least, as chatty and as friendly as I am on you, I'm not really a fan of people, like, if I'm being honest. But loads of people came up to me and approached us and said how lovely they think the podcast is. Some really lovely comments about the interaction between all three of us and how nicely we all come across and how it seems as though we are, friends. And yeah, we did meet by coincidence, but we do have a bit of banter through the week. We've got a pretty chatty WhatsApp group and stuff. So I'd like to think that, that comes across quite well. But it's so nice for other people to see that and that comes across on screen. And I think it was lovely the message that you had, Rod, about us interacting and messaging people back.
Mhm.
So if you message us on like Twitter or Instagram or add something on our Facebook, we will come back to you. Because we just genuinely love not only chatting with each other, but chatting with you lot as well and hearing what you lot have got to say. So see the socials. We're stepping up what we're doing with regards to little videos throughout the week and TikToks and stuff like that, because everybody seems to like that as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your family. Because as long as you want us to keep doing this, we'll keep doing it on a Tuesday evening. But have a good week. Enjoy the rugby on Friday evening, wherever you may be watching. There is a strong possibility that I'll be home and sulking in bed by 10 o'clock because I'm not very good in public either. I'm actually quite surprised I booked to go out and see it. But have a lovely week, everyone. We'll, catch up throughout the week. But yeah, like, comment, and surprise, and we'll see you all next week.
Diolch pawb.